Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. It is 5 o'clock. Maritza Gonzalez-Cooper will be here. She's not here at the moment. We have Jessica Davila Burnett, Rich Senna, myself, Carlin Fryer, Garrett Wilson, and Dr. Tidwell all here. So we have a full quorum, and we will be going into closed session to discuss personnel. And pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074, 0.071, 0.082, deliberation regarding matters related to employment, appointments, resignation, termination, retirement, and reassignment. It is now 5 o'clock, and we'll be going into closed session. Oh, and we're going to, back in, we're going to discuss purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property as well. Now it is 5 o'clock still, and we'll go on into closed session. Over that, and leave that. Nothing's changed. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wait just a couple of more minutes. Maritza Gonzalez-Cooper join us, okay? Just a couple minutes. Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for waiting just a few minutes. We have just come out of closed session. It is 6:35, and if you wouldn't mind, please stand for our Pledge of Allegiance.
Colors, hope, present, home. arms, colors, post. Colors turn, arch.
All right, so do I have a motion for approval of the agenda?
So moved.
I have a motion, I have a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Motion passes 7-0. Mr. Benway, are we ready for commendations?
Yes, Madam President, we are. If we could have Dr. Price and our Board of Trustees please come down front. And I say this every month for those of you who are back again. This is my favorite part of our board meetings where we get to honor our fantastic student and staff accomplishments. So we're glad you're all here to see the great things that our students and staff do. We'd like to welcome up our special guests for our very first commendation. We're going to be joined tonight by VFW Post 688 Commander Scott Galliart, Texas VFW District 13 Commander Andrew Camplin, and Quartermaster Bob Worrell, who will present awards from the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States to some special Bernie ISD students. So if our students from the VFW contest could come on down, let's give them a great hand as they come on up front. In the Patriots Pen Essay Contest, Bernie Middle School North 7th graders Jackson Olivo and Addison Schubach tied for first place and each receive a $100 scholarship, while Voss Middle School 6th grader Evan Rafferty took third place and earned a $50 scholarship. The students wrote their 300 to 400 word essays on the theme, "How Can I Be a Good American?" In the Texas VFW District 13 competition held Thanksgiving weekend, in that same group, Addison took first place and earned a $500 scholarship, and Evan took second and earned a $400 scholarship. Let's give a hand for our Patriots Pen Essay Contest winners. Mr. Worrell's got the check, so you want to make sure you say you're here for that. Up next, in the Voice of Democracy Audio Essay Contest, Bernie High School sophomores swept all 3 awards, with Clarissa Muskies winning first place and a $200 scholarship. Luke Fox took second and earned a $150 scholarship, and Kara Luivano won third place and won a $100 scholarship. The students recorded their 3 to 5 minute audio essays on the theme, America, Where Do We Go From Here? Let's give a round of applause to our Voice of Democracy audio essay contests. In that same category, the District 13 competition, Clarissa took third and earned a $300 scholarship. So congratulations to her. And 2 Bernie ISD teachers earned Citizenship Teacher Awards, with Voss Middle School's Dustin Lazenby winning the middle school division and Currington Elementary's Lindsay Hendricks taking the title in the elementary school division. Both Mr. Lazenby and Coach Hendricks won $500 and a crystal apple from VFW Post 688, as well as a $250 prize at the District 13 competition. And both of our outstanding teachers advance to the state competition. Let's have a round of applause for our citizenship teacher winners. And can we have the parents of our great students that are here either raise your hands or stand up? We want to thank you for coming tonight as well. Thank you for your support. Can we give a round of applause to our parents tonight? Also, thank you very much for being here. And if we could grab a photo of everybody with the board and Dr. Price up front as well. And parents, please feel free to take your pictures as well. This is a fantastic moment. And our great service dogs are here tonight, too. Let's have one more hand for all of our great VFW winners. And thank you to the VFW Post 688 for their support. Our next commendation, unfortunately, cannot be here tonight, so we will have Bernie High School Principal Shane Wilson come up and stand in his place. Our next commendation is Bernie High School sophomore violinist Sam Ebo. You may have heard his name. He has made a name for himself already. Sam earned a place on the Texas Music Educators Association All-State Orchestra. Sam scored high at the All-State audition on November 14th and will perform with the All-State Orchestra on February 12th at the TMEA convention. This past summer, Sam played with the National Youth Orchestra Ensemble at Carnegie Hall in New York City. He was just one of 200 students in the country selected to this incredible opportunity. Let's give a big round of applause for Sam Ebo. And if we could have our board and Dr. Price get a photo with Mr. Wilson, with Sam's photo in the background. You can show this to Sam tomorrow in school, Mr. Wilson. He has a concert tonight. That's why he's not here. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Appreciate it. Our final commendation tonight is Fair Oaks Ranch Elementary School 5th grader Ella Kagi. Let's give Ella a big hand. As you see on the screen, Ella's design was selected as the official Bernie ISD 2021 holiday card. She is the youngest student to ever win the contest. How about that? Great job, Ella. Yeah, a hand for that. That's fantastic. Every school in Bernie ISD participated in the contest, with the district receiving hundreds of submissions. The submissions were narrowed down to 12 finalists, one from each school. And Ella's design was selected as the district card at our Cookies and Cocoa event on December 3rd. And our board president, Mrs. Sharp, has a gift for you, Ella. These are cards with your design on them that you can use for your family holiday card. So congratulations to Ella and a fantastic accomplishment. And if we could have our board and Dr. Price with Ella. Congratulations, Ella. Great job. And now we have a special recognition to honor the Bernie Police Department for their assistance during last Thursday's threat at Champion High School. So we'd like to have Chief Page, Assistant Chief Perez, and all of our fine Bernie PD up out front here so we can give you a great recognition. Come on down.
We wanted to take a really quick moment to just say thank you to our law enforcement partners for keeping our children safe. And Thursday was scary for all of us, and they acted immediately. And I don't know if people realize solving and coming to a conclusion within 12 hours is pretty remarkable. This is a nationwide epidemic at this point with social media threats that was spurred by what happened in Michigan, and for whatever reason, people have jumped on it. They did a remarkable job. We worked hand in hand with them on the news releases, and the communication of what we can. We all want to give more information. They want to give more information. We do, but there are laws we have to abide, and there's procedures we have to abide. And by doing what we did in the partnership, we stopped it. And so thank you very much for getting us through that horrible day, and thank you always being there when we need you. But I wanted to give everybody a chance to tell you that.
Do you want to hand the mic to any of them, or?
Donna, do you want to say anything to them?
No.
No.
Thank you so much to our friends at the Bernie Police Department. Also, Officer Hector Hernandez, who is our Bernie ISD Director of Safety and Security. Thank you all very much for your support. Madam President, I yield the floor back to you. Thank you.
Okay, everyone, thank you for that. Next, regarding items discussed in closed session, do we have a motion, Mr. Fryer?
We do, Madam President. One item that we discussed, I move the board adopt the resolution presented by the superintendent authorizing the purchase of an approximate 16.78 acre tract of land along Corley Road, Kendall County, Texas, from Pulte Homes of Texas, LP.
I hear a motion. Do I hear a second? Okay, a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those who oppose, say nay. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. Let's see. Next up is our visitor comments, and if you'll just give me a moment, I read this each time. As you can see on the board encourages comments about the district from citizens of the district, from district employees. Anyone wishing to speak either as an individual or as a representative of a group may do so at this time. The board that asks each participant's comment pertaining to the public education be no longer than 3 minutes. The overall time limit for comments will be 30 minutes. Remember that the board may not discuss or act upon any issues that are not posted on our agenda. If an issue mentioned is listed on tonight's agenda, the board will defer discussion of the issue until the appropriate time during the meeting. The board encourages the public to discuss concerns with an appropriate administrator who has the authority to address the concerns. Concerns should be addressed as soon as possible to allow early resolution at the lowest possible administrative level. Finally, please be aware that the rules of decorum will be enforced during the public comment period and throughout the meeting. Disruptive behavior will not be tolerated. Those who choose to engage in disruptive behavior may be asked to leave. Each participant is legally responsible for the content and consequences of his or her own statements. Okay, so with that, first up, Jessica Norcross. Good evening,
Hi.
Jessica.
I absolutely despise public speaking, so please bear with me and my shaky voice. My name's Jessica, and my children attend Herf Elementary. I sat down earlier today to gather my thoughts about what to say tonight. Honestly, it gave me a migraine, reliving everything my daughter has been through over the last year and a half. While I was doing that, I received a call from Dr. Stewart. We had a very nice chat, and she allowed me to share my thoughts on what's transpired over the last year and a half. I appreciated our time. I still would like to go on record and share a little bit of my family's experience. Last year, my daughter had the kindergarten year from hell, to say the least. She was bullied by one particular student on a daily basis. She was hit, kicked, punched, hair pulled, spit on, and had things thrown at her. This child also told her she's going to ask Santa for a gun and bring it to school to shoot my daughter. It took months to have a formal investigation conducted and finally have that student removed from her class. My daughter was traumatized. She used to love school. A lot of last year was spent in tears, hiding under her bed, screaming that she didn't want to go to school. We've had her in counseling for the past year. She's worked very hard to let go of her frustration and anger and gain back some self-esteem. Here we are again this year in first grade, and we and other families are experiencing a lot of the same violent behavior from multiple students. I do understand that there's only so much the administration is legally allowed to share when it comes to our other students and how they are disciplined. I respect that. I still have real concerns about the violent behavior that occurs at our school. Dr. Stewart did offer to allow my daughter to move to another school for a fresh start. To be honest, it's something my husband and I have already talked about, and it is something we are considering. However, the more I thought about that this afternoon, I wondered, what does that teach my child? I'm sorry this is happening to you again. I'm sorry this kid has physically harmed you and your classmates. He gets to stay, but we're going to move you to another school and hope for the best. I'm not sure that's the proper solution. We are going to think about it and pray hard for guidance. We are not the type of parents to cut and run. I can't in good conscience do that without at least sharing our experience and helping to lend a voice to this growing problem that a lot of schools seem to be having. I know it's not just my daughter's class or our school. I know it's not just happening at Bernie ISD either. I do know that this isn't working. Even if there is a plan in place and things will look different in January, what happens when the next student who acts out violently? What's the protocol? How many chances are they given? How many kids get hurt in the meantime? What happened to zero tolerance? Why should a child be allowed to hit another child even once? Yes, every child is entitled to a free public education. They are also entitled to a safe education, and this is a safety issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Next up, we have Amber Stenberg.
state my name? Oh, do
I
need to
have
state
your
my name?
address.
Oh,
Yeah, you're,
okay.
thank you.
I am a better parent for being a teacher and a better teacher for being a parent. Is it to suggest that non-parents aren't also good teachers? Of course not. Just that being a mother to me has provided a richness to how I perceive teaching. If it's not good enough for my child, it's not good enough for any child. And that has always been my belief. I was a highly motivated and highly requested substitute for BISD, specifically at Fabra Elementary. I was just wanting to make a difference to young people's lives, but not at the expense of my own child's safety. Unfortunately, I must have missed the part of sub-training where BISD told new employees that the First Amendment freedom of speech has no place in this district, and that employees are unfit to serve if they express their concerns regarding their own child's safety. The thing is, teacher mode can be switched on and off, but parent mode most certainly can't. My parental concerns over the safety of my children and actions are a matter of legitimate public interest and concern. Back in October, I was in a second grade class for a little over a week. I spoke with a fellow second grade teacher about the lesson plans I was reviewing for the next day. I was shocked to see that we had to move on to another application after just introducing one. I voiced my concern about moving on so quickly, and her response was, "You're saying everything we think about every day." That comment stuck with me and makes complete sense now. I expressed my concerns privately over a safety concern regarding my child. That private message was shared with HR, and HR made claims that I violated FERPA. However, substitutes
President?
don't have
Madam President?
access to confidential student information.
Madam President, in accordance with BED local, employment matters may not be presented at this level with the school board.
I only learned of the student's medical diagnosis from a board member's response regarding the
Madam
incident.
President, under BED local, employment grievances and complaints cannot be presented to the school
How
board
I'm
in
talking
public
about
comment.
safety. How he knew so much information before parents
Madam
with children.
President, I will request that the speaker be removed from the podium.
Ms.
Officer,
Sternberg, can you skip that part? Is there anything further that you can share with us
Yes,
that does
a
not
lot, thank you.
violate
But this
our?
has to do with a board. I didn't know. So can I get my time back? Thank you. Parents didn't know about this, but a board member did, about the incident. Are we good there? Okay. I'll skip over all that. School safety requires a broad-based effort by the entire community, including educators, students, parents, and law enforcement, businesses, and faith-based organizations, among many others. This district needs a system in place not only to help teachers, parents, and students who are fearful.
Thank you very much. Next on the list, we have Braden Stenberg. Good evening, Braden.
Good evening. On Sunday morning at church, the first hand I shake is Officer Chavez. I asked my parents why he was there, and they explained he was there to keep us safe. By far, the two safest places I have been are my home and my school, because I know I have more people who care about me, who care about me, my well-being, and who care about my future. My church has now been added to the list. I know that Officer Gomez at our school is the same reason. Officer Gomez is one person at Fabra I know I can count on to talk to about anything. A few months back, my mom was on campus, and I asked him to talk with me. I just had some bad news that my bones are breaking off my elbow and I can't play baseball. I know it was not easy for me or my mom to ask for help. I know she has a job to do and that she has to do it, so she couldn't just be my mom. I learned a lot about him that day, and he really helped make me feel better. Now we can talk about all kinds of stuff when I see him. That was not the only time I asked my mom for his help. There was a 5th grader in the bathroom with a knife at school one day. My friend came back from the bathroom and told me about it. What I did after he told me, I asked my teacher if I could go to the bathroom, and I did not ask because it was cool to see a knife. I'm a country kid and I know what they look like. I went to handle it. At that time, it seemed like the right thing to do. Good thing was it was already handled. When I got home from school that day, I told my mom what happened. Sadly, she thought I was lying about it. She called the school to check. I thought I was in trouble when she got off the phone because she had the mom look. But she was just upset that she had to call them to get the truth. I should have never asked the teacher to go to the bathroom to get a look. At the time, I thought it was the right thing to do. Of course, my mom didn't see it that way. She talked and pretended like I was listening. Okay, and I said the problem without telling Officer Gomez, I did not know what to ever do. Maybe if someone had to talk to that football player in Michigan, he would have not gone to handle it. My mom talked about this, and you guys fired her. She is a really
Madam
good teacher.
President, under BED local, we may not bring employee grievances before the board
I
in this
can,
format.
yes. To finish my speech, I want to thank Officer Gomez and every officer for their service. Something my parents have taught me. All right.
Thank you. Okay, next on our list is Michelle Rodriguez. Good evening.
Madam President, Dr. Price, members of the board, my name is Michelle Rodriguez, and I'm a parent of 2 former Bernie ISD students. I'll explain why. 7 years old is the first time my eldest child ever brought up suicide. 7. He was ridiculed. He was berated. And the response that I received from counselors, from administration, before he was transferred was, kids are kids, what do you expect? Kids are kids. What do you expect? Yet mine was thinking of suicide. My eldest was pulled from that one elementary school in the 4th grade due to that taunting repeatedly. By the time he was moved to a new school, the damage was done. Self-worth, spirit destroyed. He is in therapy, and he will continue to be in therapy because trust in others has to be rebuilt continuously as he makes new friendships, as he meets new people, as he questions, can I actually engage with this person? These children whose minds are being molded by actions they see from people that they watch and admire, like their parents, like their siblings, shows on TV, even video games, social media. A recent survey went out to parents asking questions about if the school was a safe place. I understand that many things happen, and as administrators, there's things that you are not able to be available to all the time. But I'm telling you, we're not there yet. My children are homeschooled at this point because we will show them what it means to interact in a good conscience, not trying to find what other people's hard spots need to be softened or how they need to be tempered. For example, a school club had put up a rainbow tree, and the tree was vandalized by students with no recourse for their actions. The administration was made available, yet no justice or accountability. On this season, there was just sadness. Those actions going unaccounted for. It serves no purpose except to show that it is an acceptable mode of behavior. You have already lost 1 student this school year. You need to do something about this, please.
Thank you. Okay, next on our list is Lynn Bello. Good evening.
My name is Lynn Bello. I'm a retired mom. My children came through the Bernie schools, finishing in 2011 and 18. Now that I'm retired from raising my own children, I can spend more time volunteering. And my greatest passion at this moment in this stage of my life is to advocate for the LGBT plus community. I do that by working with PFLAG as a liaison to the Bernie BISD's clubs. Bernie's LGBT plus students, teachers, and volunteers are human beings. They are created in the image of God. These are people worthy of love and of our support. If allowed to thrive, they are valued as members of our society. Our world will be a better place because, in fact, we are better together. Both my children had a loving support system while attending Bernie schools. And one of their most trusted teachers is the teacher I'm here to praise today, along with her support system from this school year. This woman still works to protect and nurture those who are struggling with acceptance and self-worth issues. She knows children like Michelle's children, and that's why she does what she does. And she knows the science behind it, if everyone else cares to look it up. She loves our kiddos, and we love her for that. She helped the GSA Club place their rainbow Christmas tree in the school's hallway, along with other school clubs' trees. This tree represents them. They are seen, they are heard, and they are valued. And we are there beside those students to be sure that no one is going to make the GSA students feel less than. We thank her and we wish her well. We wish for the school board to know how she values human life. And luckily, she too has a tremendous support system this year. Thank you for bringing him into this community. Day after day, when the GSA rainbow tree is vandalized, these students are traumatized. The adults I spoke of pick up the pieces and do their best to help the students heal. Make no mistake about it, when that rainbow tree is vandalized, it's a direct hit to the GSA students.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, speakers. Okay, next, board, do I have a motion for approval of our consent agenda? A motion, and I have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion passes 7-0. All right, let's see. Okay, next we've come to governance, so I'll go through each of our committees real quickly and see what our members have to say. Legislative Committee, Rich, Jessica?
Really, the only the update, legislature's not in, not in session right now, but the controller did release, the state controller did release initial forecast for where the state would finish its fiscal year, and that's with revenues far exceeding projected revenues to the amount of about $12 billion. So it would appear that if that continues, as I realize it's more than a year away, but it does start January of 2023, the next legislative session, looks like it'll be in good shape financially, and legislators are already calling for the two priorities, which are the biggest parts of the budget, public ed and health. So we'll see how that goes, but we'll be well positioned with our membership in Fast Growth Coalition and also Texas School Coalition, the property wealthy districts. with our legislative agenda. I've already had discussions with our state senator. Why wait till 23? But I think they want to wait till 23. So that's an update on that.
Okay. Finance, Carlin, Garrett.
We didn't have a finance committee meeting since the last meeting.
Full Child, Carlin, Jessica. Technology. Okay. And Bernie Education Foundation, Maritza.
Yes, thank you. So we had our Giving Day. Sorry, I think I'm thirsty. It was November the 16th, I believe, was the date. And gosh, we have such a wonderful community and parents. Thank y'all so much. They garnered over $82,000 in online donations that day. So thank y'all so much to everyone who donated some money. All of that, of course, goes back to the campuses and children directly. The other positive thing they had is Purse Mania 2.0 was a huge success. That was a week ago. Yes, a week and a half ago, and we had almost 300 attendees, and it was a huge event. We had a lot of fundraising as well that evening, and so they're still tabulating the numbers, the final numbers, so I'll have that number for us next month. And let's see, Rock On is scheduled to take place on April 2nd, and at the Kendall County Youth Agricultural Equestrian Center again, so mark that on your calendar, and hopefully y'all can attend. Thank you.
Thank you, Maritza. Instructional programs.
It was a great meeting, and one of the things we're doing is really standing this back up a little more formally than it's been before. So part of that process is we're going to develop basically a calendar throughout the year, probably going to be a multi-year calendar that goes through all of our major programs, and then we'll address a couple of them at each meeting and figure out how we measure how they're working, what's good and can be improved, and maybe what are some things that we don't need to do anymore as well. One of the things I really liked from the meeting was one of those type of programs had already been identified by the district that cost money, really wasn't bringing us any benefit, and just takes up teachers' time and staff's time. That's one of the things that I find very satisfying about that committee. I know we already give all of your teachers about 30 hours of stuff to do in a regular work day. And so, especially if we're doing things that aren't helpful and taking up their time, we should pare those away and focus on the things that do help. So,
very good.
That's what we're doing in the future.
Thank you. Facilities Committee. Maritza, Rich? Nothing? Okay. I know Safety and Security did not meet. Communications team, Jessica? Okay. All right. I think you said that. Well, that's next month. Wow. Okay. And then transportation. How's that going, Rich?
Well, that committee has been meeting for 2 years now with a 9-month hiatus, which I don't think should have been done because we met during COVID, but that's a whole other issue. We had a couple meetings in the last month. We'll just see where it ends up. There, as I've mentioned in previous meetings, there's some good recommendations regarding local solutions to mitigate some of our transportation issues. There seems to be an ambivalence about anything bold or aggressive, and we're supposedly going to get to the controversial stuff soon, so we'll see how it goes. The goal is to get a report out fairly soon, within the first couple of months of 23. But originally the goal was to be the end of 22. The original goal was to have a report out by the end of 21. That's not going to happen. So I wish I could be more optimistic, but this is a thorny issue that has bedeviled our county and community for many years. And, I just remind people that there's 3 governmental entities in the county. There's the city, the county, and the school district. And we deal with growth, we deal with it on a regular basis. And I wish the other entities would be as vigilant as the school district. But so I wish I had a more thorough report to give you.
Thank you. All right, Dr. Price, how about your report?
Just a couple of quick things. Christmas programs galore. And if you are bored any night or any morning and you need something to do, I have a lot of talented students I can send you off to programs to see. And we've been eating a lot of tamales. They're all great. 10,350 students. We continue to grow, and that's a good but a challenging thing as we go forward. And I do want to express from the staff their thanks for the longevity stipends that were given out during Cookies and Cocoa. Heard a lot of good comments. They needed it at this point in time. It's been a tough 2 years trying to catch students up just to be normal. And it was, in their words, it was very nice to feel appreciated at Christmas at this time, and they wanted me to pass that on to you. Thank you very much for making that happen.
Thank you very much. Okay, so next, Ms. Flores.
Tonight, sorry. I got your attention. Tonight, I bring to you an update on the monitoring of our student progress, and particularly when it comes to the areas of reading and math. The information I'll be sharing with you tonight is directly tied to our scorecard under the areas of student success and our goals with increasing the percentage of students at the meets categories. In November, our 3rd through 10th grade students took the Fall STAR interim test in both reading and math. The interim test is an online test that the state provides us free of charge that measures student understanding of learning to identify intervention needs. It can predict performance on the end of year STAR test, and it's fully aligned to our TEKS. Districts have 2 opportunities to test the STAR interim in the fall and in the spring. And in the fall, we tested 3rd through 8th grade reading and math, Algebra 1, English 1, and English 2. And in the spring, in February, and in March, we'll be testing all subjects. The STAR interim test is considered an adaptive test. What that means is based on student responses from the first 12 to 15 questions of the exam, it will then route students to one of 3 levels for a second set of questions. The results I'm going to show you this evening are the average percent at the predicted meets level. And just as a refresher, as a reminder, each grade level and each subject has 3 performance levels. Approaches, which means approaches grade level, meets grade level, or master's grade level. All of BISD goals are set at the meets level. So I'm going to start with elementary on the very top, grade 3. And remember that the interim data assesses our students on current grade level standards. Many of the items the students were assessed on have not yet been taught. So this is a true benchmark of how they would predict to be scored at the end of the year. In top left, 3rd graders on average were at 22% in math and in 33% in reading. I was also able to get our regional scores for a comparison. And so those are highlighted on the second column under each subject area. Also keep in mind in elementary, we have students who test in Spanish as well. And so those results are indicated.
Larissa, I have a question on the Region 20, and I realize, we're focusing on Bernie ISD, but I just looked up, and Region 20 is almost 450,000 students.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that's about 35,000 kids per grade level. So am I reading this correctly in seeing under reading 3rd grade, there was about 8,400 kids that were given the test? Is that correct? There's 70
for English and Spanish, yes, that's correct.
Okay, so we have about 35,000 kids, but only 8,000 took it.
So this is an optional test for districts. Not every district takes advantage of it.
Okay, but we do it across the board.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I guess, and I don't really, I'm just speculating here. How does a district know where their children stand if you don't measure it?
Well, they could give paper benchmarks from release tests. That's the old way of doing it. but we're farther ahead in that. We are the mandate is for 22-23 is to have all assessments online. We've been doing that since last year, so we're ahead of the game there.
I was just shocked at how low the number was.
Yeah, I think most districts still rely on the older method, which of paper tests, release tests. In grade 4 reading, in grade 4 math, we were at 39% as compared to the region at 28. For math, yes. And for reading, we were at 60% as compared to the region at 45. In grade 5, we were for math at 49% and for reading at 57. You can see that we were well above the region percentages there as well. Grade 5 in Spanish, for the region, there were no results. So I was only able to present to you the BISD results. Some things that we are learning from this data is that we will continue to build and grow our independent readers, and of course the stamina that students will need in order to take the test and for reading, and also high-level questioning. And that's one of the big initiatives this year across the district. In math, we had many concepts again that had not yet been taught on the interim assessment. So as students continue to develop their understanding, mastery should improve. So we should see some improvement in the spring. When it comes to middle school, in grade 6, our math percentage was at 39% compared to the region at 23, and our reading was 42 compared to the region at 28. Similar data across grade 7, we were at 40 and 59%, and in grade 8, we were at 23 and 53%. Again, much higher than the region percentages. We do have about half of our 8th grade class taking Algebra 1. But I was not able to disaggregate the data between middle school and high school for the region. So what I did for this presentation is I just showed you for 8th and 9th grade algebra, our percentage for the district is 37%, and for the region was 16%. So again, we're well above that average. When it comes to middle school, the areas that we're continuing to work on, especially in reading, is building that background knowledge for our students through cross-content reading. And of course, for math, it's always to increase math fact fluency and problem-solving skills. That's always a challenge for our students.
Larissa, I have another question. Do we have, in Region 20, do we have any idea what districts participated?
I do not have that data. The reports I was shown was only cumulative.
Okay, thank you.
For our high school algebra, again, our percentage for 8th and 9th combined was 37%. But for our high school students, it was at 13%. Again, there was no way for me to compare it with the district. So the overall, we are well above. For English 1 and 2, the essay was not part of the test. So this is just the multiple choice that we're seeing the results for. Again, we were at 56 for English 1 and 47% for English 2. Again, well above the region percentages. And so in these areas, of course, for English 1 and 2, it's always essay preparation. We're always working with students to increase their fluency in the writing. And of course, informational texts. And in Algebra 1, again, it's fact fluency and problem-solving skills. So we did take the START interim last year at this time, so I was able to compile the data so that you could see a comparison of where we stood last year, where we are now at this time. So the average of grade 3 through 8 reading at the meets percentage in 2020, we were at 53, we are currently at 51. For math, we were at 36, we're currently at 35. For Algebra 1, we were at 36, we're currently at 37. English 1 and 2 was not assessed last year, so I was not able to make that comparison. So what this tells me is that we're roughly in the same spot that we were at this point last year, which is a good thing. Which is a good thing because you could see the results that we had at the end. We are anticipating a lot of growth in the spring.
It looks to me as though you have all worked really hard at addressing those gaps in learning that the children have experienced and kept them on track. And we have a ways to go, so it's only going to get better.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you very much for all your hard work, everybody. Yes. And on behalf of our students and the next year's teachers, too. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions, board? Okay. Thank you very much. So now we're at the action part of our agenda, aren't we? Mr. Scott? Caught you.
What am I going to do with all this time? This is going to be awesome.
Yep.
All right. You were given the results of operations financially for the district through November 30th in your board packets. Let's see. Results of operations are certainly within budgetary and operational expectations. Items of note in this month, I'd point out the Child Nutrition Fund. I know that's something that we paid particular attention to versus last year. One of the things that I've started having the accounting department do is these reports are generally presented on a almost a cash basis, and that really doesn't make the Child Nutrition Fund useful. So especially in the seamless summer option where we're accruing large receivables and federal funding. So what's been given to you on the Child Nutrition Fund in this month has receivables accrued through November 30th, and it has payables accrued through the 30th as well. That does show a $500,000 profit so far, or not. Good. Profit, that's not revenues over expenditures through November 30th. Remember that $120,000 of that were federal funds that the district was not expecting to help make up for the losses that all districts incurred in the prior year. But so far, the seamless summer option is working very well for the district. Other than that, I know in last month we weren't able to provide tax collections in the normal report. We have provided that to you subsequent to the board meeting, and have November in this meeting, and note that we're running about almost 2.6% higher than we were. About 77% of the levy has been collected through November 30th. We appreciate all donations provided to the district, and certainly appreciate the $30,000 donation provided by the Bernie Middle School South PTO for their marquee. With that being said, if there's any questions about the results of operations through November, or any other question that you might have related to budget or finance.
Well, I've got a few questions. First, on the Child Nutrition Fund, that's really good. Mm-hmm. And that was, you kind of hinted that would be the direction we'd be going in a few months ago. At this rate, it looks like there'll be a fairly substantial surplus or what have you at the end of the year. We normally have a small $200,000-$400,000 fund balance in the Child Nutrition Fund. It looks like this will be quite a bit more than that. What would we do with that? Is there equipment that how do you handle that? I understand the fund balance on the general fund, but I really have never focused that much on the child nutrition. So how would we handle that?
If there are equipment needs for child nutrition, if they were to bring that forward, it might provide something that we could do. Initially, I would want to see how results of operations without seamless summer in 22-23 go before we did anything substantial with that.
Okay. And then on the construction fund, I'm assuming that the leftover funds from 2016 are going for the land acquisitions? Okay.
About 95% of that's going to the land.
And I think it's worth noting that there were 2 land purchases that were not planned for in the 16 bond when it was approved by the voters, that we, because of leftover funds in the 2016 bond, we were able to acquire previously the land out in Bergheim for a future elementary school, as well as what is expected to be that we voted on earlier tonight, number 8. So that's a nice thing that we were able to have. And then I guess that's it. Oh, there is one more. Looks like we've received about 77% of the local property tax revenue in so far, but on the debt service, INS side, it looks like it's 81%. So is your forecast that we'll exceed the budget for the year of our INS revenue?
We budgeted a little bit low on that side and intentionally, and yeah, we will exceed on that side.
That's good. That's good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wes, one quick question. So being almost 2.6% higher in our tax revenue collections this year versus last year, I know we didn't have the report last month, but it looks like 73 million was collected. With the discounts that are applied to that, how would that compare to what we collected last year? And will it impact the budget from the discounts that taxpayers are taking?
Oh, I wish I was better at math in my head. I'm going to have to find an accountant.
And it's okay. I mean, I didn't think about it until just now when I was looking at the numbers. So we can certainly calculate those later, or maybe something we can talk about next month or in the finance committee meeting. But just curious to what that impact might be.
It's a low six-figure difference between last year and this year.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion. You want to do?
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
I move to approve the budget amendments, donation report, and tax collection report as presented.
A motion, and I have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. So does that mean the motion passes 7-0? Yes? Okay, thank you very much. You were just testing me, right? Okay. All right, okay. Thank you, Mr. Scott. All right, so future business next month. Our meeting is January 18th. We're going to go over special ed and 504 report and PD waivers related to school calendar. So at this point, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion, I thought you were asking.
I know, you were in a hurry. Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, everyone. Thank you so very much for all you do. We appreciate you very much.